welcome to another speed build. I'm Adriana, and this is Irrelevant. So today we're gonna build a 50s drive-in diner, and and I apologize for the video cutting off. I'm not really sure what happened. I kind of just opened it and I was like, what? So I don't really know what happened. But the good news is that it only cut off the UI portion at the bottom and just a little bit at the top. You'll still see the build itself, just not everything that I'm doing on the bottom, which is okay, I think. So this build is 50s, 40s, 50s inspired diner, drive-in. I actually have a picture of a drive-in on my desktop, so I've been looking at it for quite a long time now, and I was like, this would be so fun to do in The Sims. So I built this yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. So, if you don't know a whole lot about drive-ins or diners, like if you're not in the US, there are these really retro-looking, oftentimes, restaurants that you can actually drive into somewhere on the property, and they have these menus on the side where you can just stay in your car and order food from your car, and they bring it to you, or you can eat inside. So yeah, that's and they're often open really late. So if you're out until 2 a.m. and you don't feel like eating at McDonald's or something, then you can go to a diner and have some awesome breakfast or a milkshake, whatever. So a little bit of history about the diner. This guy named Charles Palmer, he actually made the first diner. I think it was in the 1800s, and then he built they were called fancy night cafes and night lunch wagons in the Worcester area until 1901. So yeah, it's a little bit of history about the diner. So they've always been for that person that is up way too late, you know? So here, I wanted to make a more roundish building, like a submarine shape, because a lot of diners are kind of in that shape, but you know, you can't really do that in The Sims, so I just kind of did a boxy shape with a tiered facade. I thought this looked good here, but I ended up switching it over to the drive-in area because I wanted to use the cursive lettering for the main sign on the front. I completely forgot about it. And then this sign with the burger on it, I had such a hard time finding it. Like, it took me forever. I actually cut out probably 10 minutes because I was looking for that sign that whole time. I ended up changing the pillars because even though those pillars are kind of retro, they're more 60s or 70s, and I just kind of wanted something more simple for the drive-in area because there's a lot going on anyway, so it's okay. Then I was just adding some half walls to the top of the drive-in area so that it's cohesive with the rest of the build. So maybe one day we'll have real cars in The Sims, but until then, These are just the toy cars that kids can play with, sized up. Just for that look, we can pretend that they're real cars because it's The Sims. So yeah, and then in this area, just add some outdoor seating because there's not really a lot of seating on the inside. There's just like 4 booths, 2 tables, and then maybe like 8 stools or something. So it's not like a extremely huge venue or anything, but it's a lot of fun. Just adding the back sign there so that you don't see the half wall. And then back here, I was thinking about putting like a window or something like that so that it looks kind of like it's for one of the employees or something, but I just ended up putting some of the wall decals that came with Dine Out. So here I'm adding a border. I ended up pushing the half wall that was inset back so that the trim would go all the way around. Because I didn't really like how it had the space in between, I just noticed that there's silver on the top of that sign. That's kind of cool. Just putting the red and the white trim. I thought that the red with the diamond red tiles was pretty perfect for this build. Very 50s diner. So in here, going on into the interior, I wanted to add the booth I wanted the booths to go all the way around that corner there, but the way it's set up, I don't really think you can. But if you can, please let me know in the comments, because I would really like to have something like that, maybe in the future. So I just settled for 1 booth on each side with 1 table, and then I just smushed them together so that it kind of looked like 1 table. Just adding some walls here so it separates it a little bit. And yeah, here I'm just smushing them like I said. I couldn't grab this booth here. I had some trouble with that, but I got it. And then just adding some more windows so you can see the cars outside. And I think here I'm going to add, I wanted to add, the kitchen, the chef's area with the window in it, but I didn't think it would make sense because there's not really a wall or anything, and I wanted to add this bar here so that people can sit on stools. So because a lot of times in diners I noticed if you sit at the bar, it's pretty close to the kitchen, or you can even see inside the kitchen. So I kind of like that idea of having it open. And these silver ceiling lights I thought were really cool. I just sized them up so they were more prominent because they look kind of tiny just as is. Then over here, just adding the bathroom. There's only 1 bathroom stall because there wasn't really any room to add multiple stalls or anything, but I figured that's okay. I kind of liked this red sink. I thought it looked kind of retro, I'm just adding some lighting. And then I thought maybe it would be better on this side. But I ended up changing it back because oftentimes you're not going to be looking at the build at this angle. So I think I changed it back to the other side because most of the time you're going to be looking at the build from the front of the building. So I don't know. Visually, I think it looks better that way. And then the inside, I just changed the paint in the inside back to like a plain red because I thought having the gray and white tiles with just, all that tile on the what am I going to say? On the walls. There we go. I thought all that tile on the walls and the floor was a little bit much, so I changed it to just plain red. And then, if you saw earlier, I added that photo frame collage from Dine Out with all the old-fashioned looking people. I remember in quite a few diners, the walls were just littered with frames and pictures and things like that. So I tried to implement that in the build. And maybe those pictures are famous people who've visited the diner. That's what I was thinking when I put it up there. And then I was kind of thinking and playing around with having the chef's table, or not the chef's table, the chef's kitchen area on the opposite side so that there could be more room for the dining tables, but I figured it might be okay. And here, just adding the hostess station and adding a jukebox because that's a must for a 50s diner. And then I think, I ended up taking away the portable dishwasher because I liked the idea of having more counter space for like the microwave and the coffee machine. And then I added a dishwasher with a sink there. And then here I'm adding just a few little wall utensils for the kitchen area. And some mats on the floor because you have to be safe. And yeah, just adding some lighting because it was looking a little dark. I thought I wanted to change the waiter station, but I just left those white because there's a lot of color going on the inside. Added another one of those photo collages. And some music, paintings. I liked the the jazzy looking paintings. I wanted to use those, but I don't know. I didn't really want to use the pink because they're pink and purple, so I didn't really think that they fit with this build. Unfortunately, sad face. I haven't really seen any diner have a coat rack, but in movies I've seen, in older restaurants and diners I've seen, they have like a coat rack for people's hats and coats and things like that. So I added that there because I thought it was a perfect place for it. And here, I think, a lot of diners I've seen have had fluorescent lighting on the outside. So I wanted to add that along the edges of the design in the tile. And then I think, yeah, here's where I add the wall, the light up wall art that came with Dine Out. I thought it was a nice little detail. Here I'm just adding the door that's in the back. I often add this in my restaurants or cafes because, just to make it a little more realistic, to have a place for the employees to go out in the back and throw away their trash. And here I was just changing the color of the chairs to be a more aqua blue. And here was when I started getting super excited because at this point I was like, it would be so fun to have menus out here where the cars are. So I just added half walls to where the pillars are, and I used the chalkboards that came with Dine Out so that they would be kind of like the menus that you would look at if you were in your car. So yeah, that was really fun. And yeah, I think we're almost done with the build. At this point, I believe I decided that one row of lights was not enough. So I added a second row on top. So yeah, because I thought it needed a little bit more fanciness on the front of the build here. And then in where the doors are, I thought these strip lights that came with, I think it was Spa Day, but I thought the strip lights looked pretty good there. And then I wanted some greenery out here in the front, so I got those really big flower pot things that came with Get Together. So yeah, I think pretty soon here we're gonna get into the screenshots after we put in these air vents. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed the build and that you have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!